A massive weather system is about to unleash chaos across America in the next 72 hours. What's coming will affect over 100 million people from coast to coast. Right now, as you're watching this, rivers in Washington state are already at record levels. Some communities have evacuated nearly 100,000 residents. But here's what nobody's talking about. This is just the beginning. Let me show you exactly what's heading your way, minute by minute, county by county. And at the 3-minute 20-second mark, I'll reveal which states are about to see the most dramatic temperature swing in decades. The atmosphere is opening the floodgates. A train of powerful storms is barreling toward the Pacific Northwest right now. These aren't normal winter storms. We're tracking an atmospheric river. Think of it as a river in the sky, carrying moisture equivalent to 15 Mississippi rivers. Western Washington is about to get hammered. 5 to 10 inches of rain in the mountains. Some spots near Seattle could see 12 inches by Friday. That's a foot of water falling from the sky in just 72 hours. But the rain is only half the story. What happens next will ripple across the entire country. These Pacific storms don't just stop at the coast. They're going to break apart and reform over the Rockies. By Wednesday night, a new monster storm system will spin up over the northern plains. This low-pressure system will drop to 987 millibars. For context, that's as strong as some hurricanes. Now here's where it gets interesting. While the West drowns, the East is about to experience something completely unexpected. A temperature flip is coming that will shock you. We're talking about one of the most dramatic warm-ups in recent memory. Cities that are sitting at 15 degrees below normal right now will surge to 25 degrees above normal in just 48 hours. Let me put that in perspective. Chicago, currently in the teens, could see temperatures near 70 degrees by Christmas. Indianapolis will jump from below freezing to the low 50s by Thursday. That's a 40 to 50 degree temperature swing in 3 days. All that snow that fell across Illinois and Indiana last week, it's going to melt fast. We're looking at 36 hours of melting, which brings its own set of problems. But wait! There's more! And this is the part that has meteorologists scratching their heads. As this warm air surges north on Thursday, we could see severe weather return to the Ohio Valley. Yes, you heard that right. Thunderstorms. Damaging winds. In December, some areas in southern Kentucky and Tennessee might even see isolated tornadoes. The odds are low, but they're not zero. Think about that for a second. Blizzards in one part of the country, potential tornadoes in another, and catastrophic flooding in a third, all happening simultaneously. The jet stream is doing something we rarely see. It's creating a setup that's producing extreme weather in every direction. Right now, it's lifted far to the north, which is why the southern states are so warm. But by Wednesday and Thursday, it's going to dip and create that powerful storm system over the northern plains. Let me walk you through what's going to happen, day by day, so you can prepare. Monday night into Tuesday, the Pacific Northwest continues to get pounded. More heavy rain, more snow in the mountains, rivers keep rising. If you live near any waterway in western Washington or Oregon, you need to have an evacuation plan ready. Tuesday into Wednesday, the warm air starts pushing north. Temperatures in the Great Plains shoot up into the 60s and 70s. It'll feel like spring in December. Meanwhile, energy from those Pacific storms starts crossing the Rockies. Wednesday night, this is when things get wild. A new low-pressure system rapidly intensifies over the Dakotas and Nebraska. The isobars, those lines on weather maps that show pressure, are going to be packed tight. That means one thing: extreme winds. Thursday morning, the northern plains wake up to potential blizzard conditions. Not from heavy snow, but from winds gusting 50 to 70 miles per hour blowing around existing snow. Travel will be nearly impossible across the Dakotas, Nebraska, and eventually Minnesota and Wisconsin. At the same time, Thursday afternoon, the Ohio Valley sees its warmest temperatures of the week, low 50s across the board. But with that warmth comes instability. Thunderstorms will fire up. Some could be strong to severe with damaging wind gusts and heavy rain. Thursday night into Friday, the storm system moves into the Great Lakes and Northeast. But here's the catch. If you're in New England hoping for snow, you're going to be disappointed. Most areas will see rain, except in the higher elevations. Friday and Saturday, a brief shot of Arctic air returns to the upper Midwest. Nothing like what we saw last week, but enough to remind you it's still December. Meanwhile, yet another atmospheric river event slams the Pacific Northwest. And then we get to Christmas week. This is where the forecast gets uncertain, but also fascinating. Multiple computer models are suggesting something extraordinary, a heat wave. Right around Christmas, some models show temperatures 40 degrees above normal across large parts of the country. If this pans out, and that's a big if, it could be one of the warmest Christmas periods on record. Forget about a white Christmas for most of America. We're talking about people in Chicago potentially wearing short sleeves on December 25th. The Gulf Coast could feel like summer. Even the northern states might see temperatures more typical of mid-October. Now, I want to be clear, that Christmas forecast could change. We're still 7 to 10 days out, but the trend is undeniable. Warm air is going to dominate the pattern. Let's talk about the wind situation, because this is critical for anyone in the northern plains and upper Midwest. When we see pressure gradients this tight, wind gusts become dangerous. We're forecasting sustained winds of 30 to 40 miles per hour, with gusts to 70 miles per hour across the Dakotas on Thursday. That's hurricane force in some spots. These winds will create blizzard-like conditions even without much new snowfall. Visibility will drop to near zero. Drifting snow will make roads impassable. And here's the real concern: power outages. Winds this strong can snap power lines and topple trees, especially with wet, heavy snow still on branches. If you're traveling through this region Thursday or Friday, seriously reconsider your plans. This isn't worth the risk. Now, back to the Pacific Northwest, because the situation there is evolving by the hour. The rainfall totals we're tracking are staggering. Western Oregon, 5 to 7 inches minimum. Western Washington, 7 to 10 inches in most areas. The coastal mountains could see localized amounts approaching 15 inches. That's more rain than some places get in 6 months, all falling in 1 week. Rivers are already swollen from previous storms. The ground is saturated. There's nowhere for this water to go except downstream. Flash flooding is a certainty. River flooding is already happening. Major flooding is expected to worsen through Wednesday and Thursday. Nearly 100,000 people were evacuated last week in low-lying areas. That number could climb higher. If you live near a river in western Washington, northern Oregon, or northern California, you need to know your evacuation routes. Have supplies ready. Don't wait for mandatory evacuation orders. Here's something most people don't realize about atmospheric rivers. They don't just bring rain. At higher elevations, we're talking about massive snowfall. The Cascades and Northern Rockies could pick up 3 to 5 feet of snow above 6,000 feet by the weekend. That's incredible news for ski resorts. But it also means avalanche danger will be extreme. If you have any backcountry plans, cancel them. The snow level during these events fluctuates dramatically. Sometimes it drops to 3,000 feet, sometimes it rises to 7,000 feet. That variability creates dangerous conditions in the mountains. Let's pivot to what this means for travel nationwide, because the timing couldn't be worse. We're 1 week from Christmas. This is one of the busiest travel periods of the year, and we're looking at multiple weather disasters happening simultaneously across different parts of the country. If you're flying through Seattle, Portland, or San Francisco, expect delays. Heavy rain and wind will impact operations. If you're driving through the northern plains or upper Midwest on Thursday or Friday, you might get stranded. Blizzard conditions can shut down interstate highways for days. Even if you're in areas that won't see active weather, like the Southeast, you could still experience delays because of ripple effects from weather elsewhere in the country. My advice? Build in extra time. Book flexible tickets if possible, have backup plans, and monitor the weather obsessively in the days leading up to your trip. Now let me give you some specific city-by-city impacts for major metropolitan areas. Seattle, heavy rain Monday through Friday, flooding likely in low-lying neighborhoods, wind gusts to 50 miles per hour possible, power outages likely, high temperature Wednesday around 52 degrees. Portland, similar to Seattle, expect major transportation disruptions. Rivers in the area will reach flood stage. Some may exceed record levels. Boise, heavy mountain snow, valley rain changing to snow by Friday. Difficult travel conditions in mountain passes. Interstate 84 could close temporarily. Minneapolis, quiet weather through Wednesday, then a rapid deterioration Thursday. Blizzard conditions likely Thursday into Friday. Wind chills could drop below zero Friday morning. High temperature Wednesday near 40 degrees, then plummeting to the 20s by Friday. Chicago, the big warm-up hits Wednesday and Thursday. High temperature Thursday near 50 degrees. All the snow from last week will melt, Potential for severe thunderstorms Thursday afternoon. Then colder again Friday and Saturday, but not extreme. Indianapolis. Similar to Chicago. Wednesday brings the warm air. Thursday could see thunderstorms, possibly strong. The snow on the ground will be gone by Thursday evening. Columbus. Watch for the warm front Wednesday night into Thursday. Could trigger strong storms. Otherwise, temperatures will be unusually mild for December. Kansas City. Warm through Thursday with highs in the mid-60s. Then a cold front Friday brings temperatures back to seasonal norms. Windy throughout the week. Denver. Caught between systems. Some snow possible Friday night into Saturday, but nothing major. Cold air returns this weekend after a mild week. Dallas. Warm weather dominates. Highs in the 70s through the week. Potentially reaching near 80 by Christmas, well above the normal mid-50s. Now, I promised you the most important piece of information, and here it is. The key factor in all of this is the jet stream pattern. What we're seeing develop is called an omega block. It's shaped like the Greek letter omega. High-pressure ridges on both the east and west sides, with a trough in the middle. This pattern is locking in place, which means the weather extremes we're seeing now will persist. The Pacific Northwest will continue to get hammered, the northern tier will remain stormy and volatile, and the south will stay unusually warm. This pattern typically lasts 7 to 14 days once established. We're just entering it now. So what you're seeing this week is likely to continue, with variations, through the Christmas holiday and possibly into early January. For long-range planners, this is crucial information. Let me address the elephant in the room. Climate change. Atmospheric rivers are not new, they've always existed, but recent research shows they're becoming more intense and more frequent. Warmer ocean temperatures mean more moisture in the atmosphere. More moisture means heavier precipitation when these systems hit land. The rapid temperature swings we're seeing are also becoming more common. The jet stream is behaving differently than it did decades ago, creating more extreme north-south temperature gradients. I'm not here to debate the politics. I'm here to report the facts. And the fact is, the weather patterns we're tracking this week are consistent with trends meteorologists have been documenting for years. What does this mean practically? It means events we used to call 100-year floods are happening more often. It means winter weather is becoming more volatile and less predictable. It means we all need to be more prepared for extreme weather events. Speaking of preparation, let me give you specific action items based on where you live. Pacific Northwest residents, stock up on essentials today. Batteries, flashlights, water, non-perishable food. Assume you might lose power for several days. Fill up your gas tank. Charge all devices. Move important items from basements in flood-prone areas. Know your evacuation routes. Sign up for emergency alerts from your county, Northern Plains and Upper Midwest. If you don't need to travel Thursday or Friday, don't. Stock your vehicle emergency kit if you must drive. Blankets, food, water, shovel, sand, jumper cables, phone charger. Tell someone your route and expected arrival time. Check on elderly neighbors who might lose heat if power goes out. Ohio Valley and Midwest. Prepare for the warm weather, strangely enough. The rapid snowmelt could cause localized flooding, especially in areas with poor drainage. Clean out storm drains near your property. If you have a sump pump, make sure it's working. Thursday afternoon, if storms develop, have a plan to get to shelter quickly. Everyone else, monitor the forecast for your specific area. Weather patterns this chaotic can produce surprises. What looks calm today might change rapidly. Here's something most forecasts won't tell you. The extended models beyond Christmas are completely uncertain. We're in a pattern transition. After this omega block breaks down, anything could happen. Some models show the pattern flipping to cold and stormy for early January. Others keep the warmth going. A few even suggest a return to Arctic blasts similar to what we saw last week. It's too early to know, but I'll be tracking it. And in my next video, I'll break down what the latest data shows for the end of December and early January. Because if you're planning travel or events for New Year's, you'll want to know what's coming. Let me give you one more critical piece of information that's developing as we speak. The storm system forming Wednesday night over the northern plains isn't just going to bring wind and snow. It's going to be an incredibly dynamic system. The pressure gradient, the difference between high and low pressure, will be one of the tightest we've seen all year. What does that mean in plain English? It means this storm will intensify rapidly. In meteorology, we call this bombogenesis, when a storm's pressure drops very quickly. This storm is borderline qualifying for that term. When storms intensify this fast, they produce outsized impacts. The winds become more extreme, the precipitation becomes more intense, the travel conditions become more dangerous. This is not a storm to take lightly. For comparison, the pressure in this system, 987 millibars, is lower than many coastal storms. It's approaching the intensity of nor'easters that paralyze the East Coast. Except this one is happening inland, over the plains and Midwest. The wind field around this storm will be enormous. We're talking about damaging wind gusts from Montana to Michigan. That's a swath over 1,000 miles wide. Tens of millions of people will experience winds over 40 miles per hour. Now, let's talk about the severe weather potential Thursday, because this is unusual and concerning. December, severe weather outbreaks are rare but not unheard of. They happen when you get a perfect storm of ingredients: strong wind shear, ample moisture, and instability. We're going to have all three Thursday across the Ohio Valley. The wind shear will be provided by that intense low-pressure system to the north. The moisture will come from Gulf of Mexico air streaming northward. The instability will come from temperatures in the 50s and 60s colliding with that northern storm system. If this were April or May, we'd be talking about a significant severe weather outbreak. But because it's December, and because temperatures won't be quite as warm as spring events, the threat is lower. But it's not zero. The Storm Prediction Center will likely issue some level of severe weather risk for Thursday. At minimum, we're looking at damaging straight-line winds. Gusts could exceed 60 miles per hour in some spots. That's enough to down trees and power lines. The tornado threat is much lower, but not impossible. If any tornadoes do form, they'd most likely be weak and short-lived. The areas with the highest risk would be southern Kentucky, Tennessee, and possibly northern Alabama. But again, the odds are low. What's more likely is just widespread gusty winds and heavy rain. Some areas could pick up 1 to 2 inches of rain Thursday, which on top of melting snow could cause flooding issues. Let me switch gears and talk about what happens after this week, because the pattern doesn't calm down much. This weekend, another potent system will develop over the Rockies. It won't be quite as intense as Thursday's storm, but it'll still bring snow to the northern plains and upper Midwest. Current indications suggest moderate to heavy snow Saturday night into Sunday for areas like Minnesota and Wisconsin. Then, as we head into Christmas week, the focus shifts back to the Pacific. Multiple atmospheric river events are lined up in the long-range forecast. It's like a parade of storms aimed at the West Coast. Each one will bring more rain, more snow, more flooding concerns. This pattern could persist well into early January. For the Pacific Northwest, this means the flooding situation may not improve anytime soon. Rivers could remain at elevated levels for weeks. Communities already impacted may see additional flooding events. This is going to be a long, difficult winter for that region. The silver lining, if there is one, is the incredible snowpack building in the mountains. Water managers in California are probably celebrating. After years of drought, reservoirs will refill. The snowpack will be well above normal. This bodes well for water supplies next summer. But in the short term, it's creating significant hardships for people living in affected areas. Now let's talk about what this means for your energy bills, because that's on everyone's mind. The wild temperature swings we're seeing are going to wreak havoc on heating systems. When it's 15 degrees, your furnace runs constantly. When it jumps to 50 degrees, your furnace barely runs at all. Then, when it drops back down, your furnace has to work overtime again. This cycling is inefficient and expensive. Your energy bill this month might be higher than normal, even though we're having warm periods, because the cold snaps force your system to work so hard. Additionally, the wind is a huge factor. Wind chill doesn't just make it feel colder outside. It actually causes more heat loss from your home. Those 70-mile-per-hour winds Thursday will strip heat from buildings rapidly, forcing heating systems to work harder. If you haven't already, make sure your home is winterized. Check for drafts around windows and doors. Make sure your furnace filter is clean. Consider using draft stoppers. Every little bit helps when temperatures are this volatile. Let me give you some perspective on just how unusual this Christmas forecast is. Typically, the week of Christmas is one of the coldest of the year for most of the United States. Arctic air usually dominates the northern tier. Even the south typically sees chilly weather. But this year, we're looking at the opposite. If the warm forecast verifies, some cities could set records. Not just daily records, but records for the entire Christmas week period. Think about that. In over a century of record-keeping, this could be the warmest Christmas on record in multiple cities. That's not just unusual, that's historic. Does this mean global warming has canceled winter? No, it means we're in an extreme pattern. Cold air hasn't disappeared, it's just displaced. In fact, parts of Canada and Alaska are experiencing below normal temperatures right now. The cold air exists, it's just not over the United States. Weather patterns are always fluctuating. The jet stream meanders. Sometimes we're on the warm side, sometimes the cold side. What's notable is the magnitude of the extremes. The swings are becoming more dramatic. Here's what I'm watching for in the days ahead, and what you should watch too. First, flooding reports from the Pacific Northwest. We'll know by Wednesday if the flooding is as bad as models suggest, or if it's worse, or somehow better than expected. River gauges tell the story. If major rivers exceed flood stage significantly, evacuations will expand. Second, the wind reports Thursday. If we start seeing widespread reports of 60 to 70 mile-per-hour gusts, that'll confirm the storm's intensity. It'll also mean extensive power outages are likely. Utility companies will be overwhelmed. Third, the severe weather Thursday afternoon. If thunderstorms develop over the Ohio Valley and they show rotation, that'll increase tornado concerns. Even if we don't get tornadoes, damaging straight-line winds are still a major threat. Fourth, the Christmas forecast models. Every day, we'll get new data. We'll see if that warm pattern holds, or if something changes. Pay attention to forecast updates. Let me address a question I know many of you are wondering. How accurate are these forecasts? Short-term, 1 to 3 days out, we're very accurate. The technology and modeling have improved dramatically. When I tell you heavy rain is coming to Seattle tomorrow, you can bank on it. Medium range, 4 to 7 days out, we're pretty good. The general pattern is usually correct, though exact timing and intensity can shift. Thursday's storm is in this range, and I'm confident it'll happen, though details may change. Long range, beyond 7 days, it's more uncertain. That Christmas forecast could easily change. Don't make firm plans based on a forecast 10 days out, but the trend, warm versus cold, is usually reliable even if exact temperatures aren't. The best approach? Check the forecast daily as we get closer to any event you care about. Weather forecasting is not a one-and-done thing. It's an ongoing process of refining predictions as new data comes in. Now, I want to give you one final thought as we wrap up. Weather is powerful. It impacts everything we do, how we dress, where we go, what we plan. This week is a reminder of just how much weather controls our lives. But here's the thing, we're not helpless. With good information, we can prepare, we can adapt, we can stay safe. That's why I'm here, to give you the information you need to make smart decisions. Whether it's deciding whether to travel, or just knowing whether to grab an umbrella, knowledge is power. The weather this week is going to be extreme in multiple ways. Flooding out west, blizzard conditions in the plains, severe weather in the Ohio Valley, wild temperature swings everywhere. It's a lot to process. But you're now armed with the information you need. You know what's coming, when it's coming, and what to do about it. In my next video, I'll have updates on how this week's weather unfolded and what's coming for the end of December into early January, because this pattern is far from over. More storms are lining up, more changes are coming, and I'll be here to guide you through it, day by day, storm by storm. Weather waits for no one, but together we can stay ahead of it. Stay safe out there.